Hey, good morning. This is Junior coming back to you again, coming home from the gym. Once again, just thinking about some things that are going on at work and with clients while I'm on the hydro massage table after I'm done working out. And it seems to be one of the better times for me to think. It's my usual meditation time. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is our perception, our ability to perceive things. And I'm a firm believer that the only things in life that we truly can have any kind of control over is the way we view things and the way we react to things. Right? I can steer the ship in a direction, but that's no guarantee of what's going to happen. So the only things that I truly can control is the way I look at and the way I react to the things that come to me. That in itself can change your entire life. One of the things that I am working on is a nonprofit. It's called Perception of Life. And the reason I'm calling it that is because I truly believe that our perception on our life can make or break anything we're doing. As long as I'm willing to look at things from multiple angles, I can almost always find either a positive stance on something that's bothering me or a neutral stance at the very minimum. But the goal is to take those negative thoughts, negative feelings, and get them the fuck out of your head. There's nothing more dangerous to me than having a bunch of negative things rolling around in my head. So the more things that I can find a positive outlook on, or a neutral outlook on, the more likely I'm going to be to not get high today. Now, one of the ways that I'm able to do this is that my belief systems are fluid. So if you want to look at it like a lava lamp, if you've ever stared at a lava lamp, most of us probably have, you got the oil that heats up and it starts going up and down. Well, as it's going up and down, it hits another piece of the oil, and some of it keeps going the direction it was going, and the other parts of it is fluid, stops and goes the other direction with the least resistance. Right? I have to believe that everything that I have a belief system on needs to be fluid. Now, that was hard for me at first because it made me really feel like a hypocrite. When today I believe something, tomorrow I believe something that maybe contradicts it, contradicts the beliefs that I had the day before. But that's what I need to be able to do from day to day. As my problems change, my beliefs need to be able to shift and change as well. So one of the big things that I have to have a fluid belief about is my spiritual belief. Now, I'm Christian. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I don't care what religion, what your spiritual belief is, as long as you have some sort of a spiritual belief. But as soon as we start defining what our higher power is to a T, we draw a hard line around it and put our higher power in a box. Once we've done that, we limit the ability our higher power has to help us. Because when we have a problem that doesn't fit inside those parameters, we're screwed. What are we going to do? Because now we've defined our higher power as being in a position that they can't help us with that specific problem. That's not safe for me. Okay? So while my beliefs more or less stay the same, I do have to have some areas that are fluid. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with a bunch of negative things or things that I can't count on my higher power to help me with. But our perception to look at things is going to change the way we feel about ourselves, about our day, about what's going on. See, when we have a negative belief on something, what we're doing is holding that door closed for anything positive to come in, and we're just holding that negative thought there. So if we can shift our beliefs and our thought process just a tiny bit, hold that door open instead of closed. Now, that doesn't mean that something positive is going to happen. There's no fucking guarantees on any of that. But it means that you've got the door open so that if something positive comes by, it has an opportunity to come in. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I hear a lot at my treatment center is people coming in for our groups. And now there's different levels of groups, but some of these guys go 5-6 hours a day in these process groups or psychoeducation or whatever. And as they've been here a few weeks, it starts to get monotonous. They start to stop paying attention. They don't want to be there. They got other things they'd rather be doing now that they're feeling good, whatever. And you hear this a lot, is this is a waste of my fucking time. I could be doing something totally different. Yeah, you're right, you could. Well, let's break that down. If you go into a group feeling like it's a waste of your time, what are you going to get out of that? Absolutely nothing. Right? Because you're already closing that door. You're going to go in there with a resentment. You're going to feel like there's no reason to be there. There's a good chance you're going to be disruptive during group, which is going to cause other people to not get anything out of it. Or you're going to not pay attention. You're not going to offer anything. You're going to have a negative vibe about you that could possibly shift the dynamics of the group. Right? And when you leave that group, you basically feel like you wasted your time, and you're probably going to be upset about it. Now, if that group was in the morning when you leave, you have the potential of making that thought ruin the entire rest of your day. Because then you're going to carry that negative vibe around with you. Now, shift that thought process just a little bit. You can still feel like it's a waste of your fucking time. That's okay. Think that. But instead of the second thought being, I have other things that would be better for me to do, hold that door open. Maybe have a thought like, it's a waste of my fucking time, but maybe I can help somebody with something else. Right? That slight shift doesn't change hardly anything, except holding that door open for something positive to come in. So now you go to group, and you're not being disruptive. You're actually paying attention because you feel like maybe you have something to offer. Maybe you offer something to somebody that really helps them out, and you might not even know whether you do or not. But let's say holding that door open in that manner gives you the ability to catch something that somebody says that's really, really impactful to you. Now you leave the group feeling good, feeling productive. You have an opportunity to spin that through the rest of your day. Had you only looked at it as a waste of your time, you wouldn't have got that. That might be the whole key to your long-term recovery, and you might miss it just because of having a bad attitude. So if we can shift our perception just a little bit, it makes a huge difference. So one of the things that I can think of right now that is pretty prevalent in treatment, and I've just recently seen it, is somebody that comes in and they've had a really rough time going in their life, whatever. They've got poor coping skills, poor outlooks on life. Principles are street principles. That doesn't work in recovery. You can't do things on principle anymore. It doesn't work that way in recovery if you want to have a good recovery. So we got a guy that's doing really good and going to be switching levels from like our highest level, which is the 5 hours a day, and he's going to switch to the next level, which takes him to 3 hours of groups a day, 3 times a week, instead of 5 hours, 5 times a week. Now, right before he's getting ready to switch levels, he has a bad phone call or a bad interaction with somebody, and he reverts back to the way he was before. Now, he doesn't physically hurt anybody, but he punches a wall or he punches doors. Maybe he doesn't even cause any property damage. Now, you tell that guy, because that happened, he's not going to change to the other level. He's going to stay in the 5 hours a day because he still needs some more help. And the guy gets upset because he feels like he's doing really well. He might even feel betrayed because his counselor is taking it back and not changing him levels now. Well, let me ask you, That's going to be all on your perception, on how you deal with that. Do you want a counselor that you're going to feel like is your friend and moves you to a different level when you're obviously still needing some work in some areas on coping in a positive way? Or do you want a counselor that's going to look out for your best interest and tell you, no, I think you're a great guy, but no, you still need some more help? And that's your opportunity to change that attitude and demeanor about how you're going in a group. Because you can go in the rest of the group until you move levels again and be a total pain in the ass, or not get anything out of it because you're mad and you're taking it personally that counselor didn't do you a favor. Well, I'm not there to do you a fucking favor. I'm not there to be your friend. Well, I can be friendly. I can love you and I can care about you. I'm not your friend. I'm there to help guide you. Because if you leave treatment and you're used to your counselor or whoever just letting you have a pass on everything, instead of actually working on something or dealing with the situation, or you're used to your counselor telling you what to do instead of you making those decisions on your own, when you leave treatment and you don't have that ability to think on your own and question your own motives, you're fucked. It's not likely that you're going to succeed. And I haven't done my job at all, in my opinion. To me, my job is to make sure that when you leave, you can take some of the emotional distress out of what's going on in your life and make a decision, right? Respond instead of react. Reacting is an emotional decision, right? That you're going to make decisions based on emotion. And that's what gets us in trouble. We make bad decisions that way. We react emotionally instead of acting, or responding. So keep that in mind. That's going to be totally up to how you want to look at the situation. You can look at me and tell me I'm a fucking dick because now I'm not letting you go to a different level. You can get mad. You can leave treatment and go get high. That's totally up to you. Or you can step back for a second, appreciate the fact that somebody's actually looking out for your best interest when you're not able to, because you can't see through it. Now let me tell you, it's been a couple of years since I've really looked at any of these numbers and statistics, but the last time I was looking at the statistical likelihood of somebody leaving treatment and staying clean for a year was less than 8%, right? So let's just even say it's between 8 and 10%. Now, a lot of treatment centers are going to tell you something different, but you got to keep in mind the numbers they're probably giving you is the percentage of the people that complete their program. How many people do you know leave the program and get high right away within a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever? And most of the time it's because they have poor coping skills or a bad outlook on life. They haven't learned how to look at things from multiple angles or different perspectives to find something that's worth fighting for. Those numbers could be a lot lower now. That 8% might be even lower now that fentanyl is around. Fentanyl seems to be taking out a lot of people. We've had a lot of people die recently that I know. This year I've probably had 12 people that I know that have died. One of them died within a few days of the other one because they got high as a way of coping with their friend overdosing. And they overdosed and died. I had another friend that overdosed and lived, but was paralyzed. And he overdosed because he found somebody, one of his roommates that he was close to, went through treatment with, had overdosed and died in their house, in their apartment, and he found him. And that was a while ago, but those things happen. If you leave treatment and you haven't learned ways to question what your motives are, or why you're doing what you're doing, or think logically, at least to question it logically, I haven't done my fucking job. And you're going to be really, really unlikely to succeed at long-term recovery, which is the entire goal. So I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to help you stay alive. Right? I'm coming up on 9 years clean, and I'm a statistical anomaly. Right? The norm of people that get clean don't stay clean. I'm just as likely to relapse and be back in a treatment center tomorrow as anybody else. As soon as I stop looking at it like that, I'm putting myself in danger. So when I'm having groups, when I'm talking to my clients, I don't talk at them, I talk with them. I don't want them to feel like I think I'm above them. And I've seen counselors do that, and it's not necessarily intentional, or maybe it is, I don't know. But what I need my clients to feel is that they have the ability to take their walls down and be vulnerable and trust that I'll use my walls to protect them. Now, when they do that, that's when we actually make some progress. So they need to be able to trust me. They need to be able to trust that when they're talking to me in groups or individually, that what they tell me is going to stay between us unless it's an absolute necessity that somebody else gets told about it. It's not my story to tell somebody else. Right? Even my coworkers, I don't tell them usually what's going on in my clients' lives unless there's something really serious that needs to be discussed or a big concern. And even then, most of the time, I have my clients go and talk to the rest of the staff themselves. Because again, it's not my story. It's your story to tell. And if you can't be comfortable in who knows your story or what you're talking about, or believe that I'm not there to hurt you, and I'm not there to be your friend, it's going to be hard to make any progress. So I'll talk about this a lot, but perception is one of the biggest, absolute biggest things that we can work on. I'll do a video one of these days on the ABC model of thinking, which was designed by Albert Ellis, and that's the activating event, the belief, and the consequence, and how we change our belief system, which is basically what I described earlier with the group, but we change our belief system on an event that we can't change, and that changes the way we feel about it, the way we react to it, and the total outcome, because we're holding that door open instead of closed. So keep in mind, no matter what the situation is, if you really want to look at it and your belief system is fluid enough, you can find something worth taking away from that situation to keep you going in a forward direction. I don't have to be a whole lot better today than I was yesterday, just a little bit. As long as I'm inching forward a little bit better today than I was yesterday, that's the biggest goal. It's not a race. So with that, I hope you guys all have a very wonderful day.